Well, with yesterday's announcement that Disneyland will officially reopen on April 30th, we have an answer now to our most frequently asked question. But there were also more answers provided in yesterday's announcement. We have answers regarding what kind of rides might be open. We have an answer as to whether or not they're going to require you to be a California resident in order to buy a ticket. And we're going to find out about what hotels might be reopening and when. We'll talk more about those answers, plus hopefully answer a few more questions that might be remaining for some of you. All that and more coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Baked. Boy, big news yesterday, and it sure does feel like a tremendous weight has been lifted off of our shoulders, doesn't it? I mean, we actually have an opening date, and the more information that comes out, the more secure I personally feel about this is actually happening. So Disneyland and DCA are going to be opening on April 30th. That's confirmed. And along with that announcement, we got more confirmation from Disney on a number of topics, which we're going to get into right now. And we're going to lead off with a question that is still very dramatic with the Disney community, and that is whether or not Disney is going to require you to be a California resident in order to purchase a ticket. And in fact, Disney has confirmed that is going to be the case. They are going to require you to be a California resident. Now, it hasn't yet been confirmed how they're going to be doing this, actually. How are they going to vet? How are they going to verify that you're a California resident? We don't know exactly how that's going to be done. But it should be noted that there is already a system in place on the Disneyland website to track that sort of thing. It was done for those who were looking to buy the SoCal Select Annual Pass. Those are for California residents only. Matter of fact, Southern California residents only. And the way they did that was by verifying that your zip code on the credit card you used to purchase the annual pass was a California zip code, and also the zip code that is attached to your profile on the Disneyland website. And that's an important distinction because when you buy a ticket, it's going to require you to go through the Disneyland website. You can't do it anywhere else. You can only go to the Disneyland website. You can only place your order there, and it will require you to have created a profile already. There will be, in effect, no guest purchases, as they say. And it should also be noted that when you were purchasing that SoCal Select Pass, you were required to verify, to prove your residency in the state of California with a California ID. Now, this is not to suggest that is how they're going to do it. I'm just saying that is a way that they have done it in the past. Time will tell. We won't know until that happens. I can't even point to what they did in Walt Disney World when they were selling tickets in Florida because they didn't have the same restriction. Florida tickets were open to anybody. You could cross state lines in order to purchase a ticket. Now, I will segue that conversation into this next piece, and that is to say that I don't know yet if the ticket system will allow you to purchase more than one ticket at a time. That is to say, a ticket for you plus 3 more for family or friends or for whomever. It's not known if you can do that or if each ticket has to be purchased individually. I bring that up because it's one way to, circumvent that system is to just do a plus 3. Do they vet? Do they verify the other 3 IDs? Do they require you to prove or to show a driver's license for each ticket purchased? That then begs the question, well, what about minors? What about children? Are they going to do the same? Or do you have to prove your age? You have to show age in their relationship to you. That's a thing that could be done as well. You could say that this ticket is for my son, and he's underage, so there's no ID. They thus would not require you to prove residency. And again, I have that conversation to suggest that I don't think that this is 100% enforceable, nor do I think Disney thinks it is, nor do I think the state thinks it is 100% enforceable. I think that their notion is to try to discourage those guests coming in from out of state. But I don't think that they can, strictly speaking, enforce it across the line. They can make it very difficult, but it's probably not impossible. That's about all I'm going to say on that topic. You guys can do the math on the rest. Now, before we get on to the next item, please take a moment to lovingly press that like button. Okay, so the announcement also confirmed that the Grand Californian Hotel is going to be opening on April 29th. That's a day before the park opens. So obviously you can spend the night in your hotel, then wake up. You can wake up and go into the park on April 30th, assuming you have a ticket. No date was given for the Disneyland Hotel or the Paradise Pier Hotel. They said only that those would be open at a later date. So obviously we don't know when that is, but I don't expect it to be very long. It just won't be when the park opens. But more importantly, with this news, Disney has officially stated, they've said it in their announcement yesterday, that a hotel reservation will not guarantee you a reservation into Disneyland. So with that said, it is highly recommended that you first procure your ticket and reservation before you book your hotel, because I'm certain the hotel's not going to ask you if you have a ticket already, or even going to try to sell you a ticket. If you want to book a night at the hotel at the Grand Californian, they're going to let you do it, whether or not you have a ticket. So I think it would be a good idea to first make sure that you have your ticket and reservation before you book that hotel suite. Now, on a side note, I kind of feel like that's a bit of a bummer of a position for Disney to take. I feel like the hotel guests should get a priority, or at least, first crack or something like that. After all, they're spending, what is it? It's going to be $600 a night at the Grand Californian, man. I don't know if I could. The idea of doing that and then not being certain that you can have a ticket to Disneyland, that's a no. That's a no for me. You know what I mean? All right. If you have a previously purchased ticket, this is something that we've talked about in the past, but I want to say it again. If you have a ticket that you have purchased previously but hasn't expired, maybe you bought it a year ago when people were still selling tickets. If you have a ticket, it is not a guarantee, again, to get you into the park. You cannot take that ticket and simply walk up to the gates and be let in. You first also must have a reservation. You need both. You need both a ticket and a reservation to get into Disneyland for whatever day it is that you wish to go. So those are two things that I feel like it's, buyer beware on those topics with the hotel and the previously purchased tickets. The bottom line is, the first rule that you first have to account for is that you have to make a reservation. And I'm saying that, I'm repeating that again, because I don't want anybody to get stuck. The worst thing in the world is to go all this way, get all the way to Disneyland, make a reservation or buy a ticket or whatever, get to the gates, and then not let you in, considering how long we've been waiting. So I want to make sure that is crystal clear. Hotel reservations do not guarantee a reservation to Disneyland. Previously purchased tickets are not a guarantee that you can get in. It's only that it's paid for once you get that reservation. Okay, continuing on with things that have been confirmed by Disney, we do know which rides are going to be open for the most part at Disneyland, and that is all of them for the most part. There may be a few exceptions. One that I've mentioned in the past is Finding Nemo. I don't expect that ride to be open ever. But they went out of their way to specifically mention a number of rides. Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean were confirmed to be reopening. As a matter of fact, they mentioned that the Haunted Mansion, if you recall, was closed when the park closed because it was getting some updates. There's new magic waiting for us at the Haunted Mansion. I don't know what that magic is. I don't expect it to be much. I don't expect it to be a big deal per se. Probably just some better, heightened effects or better lighting or something like that. But I don't think there's going to be anything new in the Haunted Mansion, but it will be open. Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run were also mentioned specifically from Galaxy's Edge. And with the specific mention of Snow White and Peter Pan, it should be assumed that the rest of the dark rides throughout Fantasyland and anywhere else are going to be open as well. And then I'll go ahead and list the other rides that were specifically mentioned. Indiana Jones, Space Mountain, Big Thunder, King Arthur Carousel, the Incredicoaster, Midway Mania, and Ariel's Undersea Adventure. My assumption is that they were trying to, name a given ride out of every land in the park, and then by extension, one can assume that all the other rides in those lands would be open as well. Getting back to Haunted Mansion, if you're wondering about how they're going to address social distancing for the Haunted Mansion, because that's been something that's come up from a number of people, we've said previously that this can be easily done. All you need is some markings on the floor in the stretching room. That's the area that people are most concerned about. Markings on the floor telling you where to stand. Stand on this X, don't stand anywhere else. And then you let in as many people as there are X's in the stretching room. Easy peasy. And the rest takes care of itself. You can properly space yourself walking down the hall, and then the doom buggies, obviously, are perfectly socially distanced by themselves, don't need any further adjustment. You don't even have to skip a doom buggy. They're already 10 feet apart, let alone 6. Meanwhile, Disney also confirmed again that any experience that would draw a large crowd to gather, do not expect to see that open. By that we mean parades, nighttime spectaculars like fireworks and Fantasmic, World of Disney or World of Color. They also confirmed again that Avengers Campus will not be open when the park opens at California Adventure. My expectation, because they had said something to this effect way back before we had any kind of date. They had said, I want to say around the new year that Avengers Campus was going to open in the summer of 2021, which was news in itself back then. And I feel like they're sticking with that in spite of the fact that they can open on April 1st. My guess is that it's not ready. It won't be ready until then, which surprises me because I thought it would be ready by now. They were supposed to be ready in November. Okay, moving on. Disney confirmed that there will be characters on Main Street and Pixar Pier. They mentioned those two specifically, was suggesting to me that you won't see characters anywhere else, just on Main Street, just at Pixar Pier. On Main Street, they said you might find Mickey and Minnie waving at you from the Disneyland train station on Main Street at Town Square, which hopefully doesn't kill any plans that I or you or anybody else might have had of riding the Disneyland Railroad, because that, now that I think about it, that kind of gives me pause, because I mean, sure, they could rope it off while while the characters are up there, and then take the ropes down and let people walk in there, or that would take the train offline while the characters are on the platform up there, unless that area is always closed off. That is possible. I'm going to spitballing here, using our imagination. You walk up the steps, and if you go to the left, that area where the baggage is and whatnot, there's no entrance or exit to the train queue from that area. Meaning you could put characters there and rope it off, and it doesn't affect a guest's ability to enter the queue or leave the train when you arrive at the Main Street station. So it's possible still. It's possible still, as I flesh this out, that they could have a separate area for Mickey and Minnie or any other characters on the Main Street train station, while also keeping the train open. Crossing my fingers, because that is number one on my list of things that I want to do when I get to Disneyland for the very first time, is ride that train at 8 a.m., do a Grand Circle tour, +1, get off at New Orleans Square, ride the Haunted Mansion, ride Pirates of the Caribbean, get a churro, go back to the hub or Main Street or something like that, and just reflect on what it is that I just did. And every time I think about that, I hope nothing comes up to stop me from doing that. All right, what else we got? So yeah, over at Pixar Pier, they've said that you can find characters at the band shell, the area underneath the Silly Symphony swings, or maybe up on it, I'm not sure. By now, you've probably already seen videos or photos. They've been doing that at Touch of Disney already. I expect to have video of that as well when I go to Touch of Disney, so that's the thing. And then obviously Joy and Sadness over at Emotional Whirlwind. And then Lightning McQueen and Mater's they mentioned on Route 66, which I guess right there on the street, not in their usual spot, but right there on Route 66 proper. Okay, dining, restaurants. Which ones will be open? The announcement specifically mentioned River Bell Terrace and the Plaza Inn over there by Town Square. And then at DCA, they specifically mentioned Carthay Circle and Lamplight Lounge, which we knew already. Now, they did kind of suggest that Carnation Cafe would be open, but they didn't say it outright. They said only that guests could buy Walt's Chili. Now, the only place that I know of is to get Walt's Chili is at Carnation Cafe. So I'm going to assume that Carnation Cafe will be open as well. And really what we're trying to infer here is that any dining location that has outdoor dining should be open. However, as I say that, I'll note that nothing was said or inferred, be that directly or vaguely, that Cafe Orleans was going to be open, even though they do have outdoor dining. Now, during yesterday's live stream, the topic came up about Blue Bayou, and I was a little unsure about how to answer that question. And of course, my thinking at the time was that indoor dining was a thing. But I will recall, or I will point you to the guidelines that were initially released last week. And in the guidelines for the red tier, it did say directly that there would be no indoor dining in the red tier. And that's for the current April 1st guidelines, not the old guidelines. The current April 1st guidelines said no indoor dining in the red tier. Now, the confusion here, of course, is that indoor dining is allowed everywhere else in the state in the red tier except in a theme park. So I'm not sure why they are drawing that line there, but they have. So no, I do not expect Blue Bayou to be open when the park opens on April 30th. Having said all of that, I think that there is a very real chance that we'll be in the orange tier by the time Disneyland reopens. And if we are in the orange tier by that time, then indoor dining would be permitted. And that would include Blue Bayou, I would assume. And that's it for things confirmed by Disney yesterday. Let's talk about some other questions that might still need answers, or other questions that have come up since this announcement or because of this announcement. All right, let's talk about ticket prices. I've said before that I don't expect ticket prices to change, either to go up or to go down. And I also don't expect there to be any park hopping, or otherwise, I mean, they're not going to sell you a park hopping ticket. It's going to be one price, one park. So that takes care of that. And of course, it goes without saying, there are no annual passes. So even if you think you have an annual pass, you can't park up because you don't have an annual pass. I'm sorry to say, there won't be any annual passes for a little while. And I also do not expect there to be any tiered pricing. As you may or may not remember, when the parks closed, we were in this sort of, I forget what they call it, demand pricing or tiered pricing based on how busy the park was. You would pay one ticket if it was considered a slow day, another price if it was an average day, or another price, a higher price if it was a peak attendance day. But with limited capacity, there should be no disparity between crowd levels from any day to the next. I mean, that includes weekdays. My expectation is the park to be at full capacity every single day they're open, simply because of the demand, and that even on a Tuesday. I don't know this, but I just expect this. I'm expecting one price per park, and that's it. And my assumption would be the middle price, I guess, the $125, in that neighborhood. Okay, moving on. No extra magic hours, no magic morning. Any of those kind of fringe benefits that some people might have experienced, i.e. hotel guests. You won't be getting any of that while we're in this limited capacity stage. So no bonus hours. On the topic of park hours, I'm unsure. They haven't said if they're going to be limiting the time frames that the park is open. I will note that just look at Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World. Right now, they close at 9, which is significantly earlier than midnight, as we have become accustomed to here at Disneyland. Not only do they close at 9 at Magic Kingdom every day, and that includes weekends, that's a new thing. That's a new development. They've only just started doing the 9 o'clock closing. So it is my expectation that the park will not be closing at midnight. The park will probably be closing somewhere closer to the 9 p.m. time frame. But again, I don't know that. That's not fact. That is just my expectation. Okay, and I'm going to close with one item that, while it's not anything about how you attend the park, it's just something that has come up that's sort of caused a little bit of controversy. Again, it's kind of a bit of drama. But it's really a bunch of nothing if you examine it at all closely. A lot of Disney news sites have been running a headline that says that there will be no screaming allowed on roller coasters at theme parks. Now, not only is this simply impossible to enforce, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's also just, it's not true. The sort of tabloid-style origin of this bit stems from some guidance that was provided by the Blueprint for California. And the guidelines stated that parks should, quote, limit activities that are known to cause increased spread, which include singing, shouting, or heavy breathing. However, the only requirement the Blueprint is asking is for a remedy for this situation. And right over here is the remedy. Wear a face mask. Face masks mitigate the effects of shouting. Also, heavy breathing. So to suggest that there would be a ban on shouting or screaming while on a roller coaster would be, based on this information, would be the same as if to suggest that there would be a ban on heavy breathing. Imagine that. In other words, you are most definitely allowed to shout, scream, or sing while you're riding a roller coaster. And with that, I think that actually covers all of the new information that has come out since our last FAQ. I will add that so far we haven't heard anything concrete from either Knott's Berry Farm or Universal Studios Hollywood, other than they're talking about sometime in May. They're going to finish their food events just like Disney is at Knott's and Universal, and then they're going to reopen the parks. I think both have said May, but nothing more specific than that. But we'll keep our ears open for more information from Knott's and Universal as it develops, as to will we keep our ears open for any information about when or where to purchase tickets, because that's the next big topic, obviously. The next thing we need to know as soon as possible. So we'll let you know as soon as that happens. As a matter of fact, we'll probably go live as soon as that is confirmed by Disney. We'll go live and let you guys know. So on that note, be sure you're subscribed to our channel and that you turn on notifications so that you are kept up to date for as soon as we do make those videos. Otherwise, you can also follow us on Twitter. That's FreshBaked Disney, fresh with no E. I'll try to let you guys know there on Twitter when we're about to go live. I'll give you guys a heads up, hopefully 20, 30 minutes or something like that. We haven't done that in the past, but that's something I'm going to try to do going forward. Otherwise, thank you guys very much, as always, for watching. Do stay tuned for a live stream later today from Touch of Disney, because that's probably where I'm at right now as you watch this video. I'm at Touch of Disney, and we'll be live streaming soon, unless you're watching this video tomorrow, which means I hope you enjoyed our live stream from Touch of Disney and that you watch our Touch of Disney videos that are coming out today, as well as watching this video. And now I have gone cross-eyed. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.